Hi everybody, it's Linda. Welcome back to Tips for You. Well, today I have a very important video to share with you. We all know that exercise is so important for our health and well-being, and you guys know that I'm an avid exerciser, and I have been for many years. But there is something that I want to bring to your awareness, and that is that exercise can cause hearing loss. And I'm going to tell you in this video how that can happen so that you can be mindful of it and protect yourself, because it is preventable. And I'm going to tell you that there are several reasons how this can happen, because it's not just what you're thinking, which is loud music, and that is what I'm going to start with first. And it's called noise-induced hearing loss. Many of these fitness classes and gyms have the music so incredibly loud that it is causing hearing loss for the instructors as well as the participants in these classes. Any noise level above 80 is going to cause hearing damage. The music in these fitness classes, including spinning as well as Zumba, all of them, has been evaluated to reach levels of 115 to 120 decibels. 120 decibels is a rock concert. Now you know what I'm talking about. And if anybody's ever taken a fitness class, then you know how uncomfortably loud it can be. To help give you perspective, here is a decibel chart. And a decibel is a unit used to measure the intensity of sound. And as you can see, it starts out at about 20 decibels, and that's just a measure of noise. And that's for, a watch ticking on your hand. Now, normal conversation is around 60 decibels. And you can see when you get up to the 80 area, you are in the very loud category, noisy restaurants, vacuums, and that anything above 80, now you're getting into the extremely loud area where you're going to have hearing damage. And I'll show you in an upcoming chart how long you can be exposed to certain levels of noise before you need protection from hearing damage. Now, as I mentioned, studies have found that fitness classes were reaching 120 decibels, which is, as you can see, a rock concert. It's very, very loud and very damaging to your ears. Now, I personally feel that it is incredibly irresponsible, because we are all going there to get fit, to enhance our health and well-being, and we don't want to lose our hearing in the process. There are regulations put out by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration of the government called OSHA. There's also the American Council of Exercise, and these organizations have issued guidelines. And these guidelines were put in force to protect the hearing of people who are either in the workplace, where they're exposed to loud sounds, think drills, construction sites, things like that, as well as exercise facilities. But the problem is that they are not adhering to these guidelines. They are not, because they feel that when they turn up the music that they're going to motivate you, that you're going to work harder, that you're going to get pumping, that you're going to feel like you're in a disco or in a dance club, and it's going to raise your adrenaline. And that's what it does do. It raises your heart rate, it raises your adrenaline, it pumps you up, but it's also compromising your hearing and causing hearing loss. You shouldn't even be exposed to the music of a rock concert level without earplugs, without protective devices in your ears. The International Association of Fitness Professionals recommends that earplugs be distributed when volumes reach above the 85 decibel level. And I'm sure nobody's ever received earplugs in a class. So we know that's not going on. Last week, I was in my fitness center, and there's a classroom where they do classes, and then there's the whole area where we all use the cardio machines, and there's a weightlifting area as well. Well, the music was so loud in there, you could hear the bass, I don't know how the ladies in there could stand it. They are damaging their hearing. Now, if the loud music isn't bad enough, there's an additional risk to your hearing that compounds the detrimental effects of the loud music, and I'll explain that now. Now, when you exercise, you are also under an additional risk, because when you exercise, the blood flow is flowing to your major organs, your muscles, your heart, your cardiovascular system is using a lot of that blood, which means there's less blood that's going to your tiny blood vessels that are supplying the cells of those little hair-like structures in your ears called cilia. So whenever your ears, your cilia, are exposed to loud sounds, okay, it can be a sudden loud noise or it can be, loud music. What happens is the blood flow constricts to those tiny blood vessels, and those little hairs, those little cilias inside, they die off. And if you couple the fact that you're exercising and the blood flow is now going someplace else, so less going to your ear, with the loud music that's already going on, that's already causing the blood vessels in your ears to constrict, well, you have a double whammy. And once those little hair-like structures die, it's permanent. They cannot be rejuvenated, and you suffer hearing loss. So, if you ever walk out of your class or any place and you feel muffled or you feel like there's ringing in your ears, also called tinnitus, then you've suffered damage because of the loud music that you were exposed to. And sometimes it goes away, and sometimes it does not. You don't need repeated exposure to have hearing loss. Once is enough. 3 minutes is enough. 1 minute is enough. This chart shows you how long you can listen to noise without protection before you get hearing loss. And you can read the chart and see as you increase the decibels, the time for which you can listen without protection decreases until the point where you cannot listen without protection at all. So just to help clarify, if you take a look at that 115 decibel level, which is where they found the fitness classes had their music levels cranked to, you'll see that you can only listen to noise at that level for less than 1 minute before you incur hearing damage. And if you get to 120, you cannot listen to it at all without protection in your ears, or you will damage your hearing. If, according to that chart, you can damage your hearing in less than 1 minute at 115 decibels, can you imagine the effects of a 1-hour class on your hearing? And if you exercise with earbuds in and you turn up the volume because you're trying to have them loud enough to get you going and there's noise on the outside, well, that sound is going right into your ears, right into your brain, and your eardrums don't have a chance. So turn down the volume. Wear noise-canceling earbuds or earphones so that you can tune out the noise around you, that you don't have to compete with the outside noise. I have been next to people on the Stairmaster or on the elliptical where the music was so loud I could hear the song, the whole thing going on from somebody else's ears. They're clearly destroying their hearing. Hearing loss is a big problem. Millions of people suffer noise-induced hearing loss every single day. It's very costly and it's very traumatic for the people that go through it, as well as the loved ones around them. And I grew up, my uncle had a terrible hearing problem. And little at the time, nobody would talk to him anymore because people didn't want to shout at him. And he didn't want to wear a hearing aid because it was uncomfortable and it was squeaky. And these are years ago, and hopefully they've made advances and they're better today. But it was very difficult and he was isolated. So protect your hearing because it's a gift. Now, I want to talk to you about the second way that this can happen. And that is through vigorous exercise where you push yourself to the limit. There's been a rise in hearing-induced loss from strenuous exercise programs like CrossFit, where you're pushed to your limits in an effort to be at peak physical fitness. But there's a high price that these people are paying for participation in this type of a program, and that is that they're losing their hearing. Now, how this happens is when you push yourself to physical limits, very strenuous exercise, you're causing intracranial pressure. That's pressure in the brain. That's also causing pressure in the ears. Many of these programs also encourage breath holding, which puts even more pressure in the ears. And when that happens, you can get something called perilymphatic fistula. Now, I was on a few chat sites, blogs and things, where there was a bunch of weightlifters talking to each other. Many of them had experienced this. They didn't know what they had though. They were all concerned, freaked out, worried because they were lifting very heavy weight in the weight room, and suddenly they couldn't hear. They lost their hearing either in one ear or the other, and it freaked them out. And for 20 to 30 minutes, they stayed like that, dizzy, not feeling well, and complete deafness and fullness in the ear. Well, it's possible that they caused a perilymphatic fistula, which is a tear in a thin membrane that's between the middle ear and the inner ear, and it's very delicate, and fluid then leaks in. This can cause hearing loss, permanent hearing loss. Now, some of them were saying that they got over it, and many times it can be permanent. So it's something to be aware of because they didn't know what they had. And I hope, guys, if you're watching this video, be careful. Do not lift weights and push yourself to that max that you cause so much pressure inside your head that you blow out your ears. Okay, because you need your ears. It isn't worth that extra rep or that extra heavy weight for you to lose your hearing. And be very careful about dropping the weights. I see many guys in the gym lifting that big bar with the plates on the sides and literally just dropping it down. The sound is like an explosion with the clanging and everything else. Doing that just once is enough to cause permanent hearing loss. I have personally myself asked a few men to please not drop those weights. They probably don't like it, but I'm helping them and I'm helping everyone else around who's going to suffer because he's dropping those weights. I think personally there should be signs in the fitness centers, in the weightlifting area, that says please do not drop the weights. You are risking your hearing. They need to know. They need to know the damage. Many of these are young boys. They don't know. They don't know that they can't have that kind of a shock to their ears. It's like an explosion. You can have sudden, immediate hearing loss with that. If anybody's ever been around it, you know how uncomfortable that is. You need to use your strength to bring those weights down. And if you can't, you're lifting too heavy weight. And the older you get, the more sensitive you are going to be to this type of pressure in your ears. So please be really, really careful and take care of your body and take care of your hearing. I also want to draw your attention to yoga. Now you would think yoga is very passive, there's no loud music. Well, I've actually been in the class where I've come in to try to get Zen and she's got the music really loud. So I don't know what that's all about. Needless to say, you have the power to walk out. If you don't like something, ask them to turn it down or simply leave. If, I've been in a situation where I've put the earplugs in for a class, and to be honest with you, even reducing it with the earplugs 50 to 30 decibels, it was still so overpoweringly loud that I couldn't take the class, and so I had to leave. And it's unfortunate because I liked classes, but I don't take them anymore because there hasn't been a class that I've been comfortable in for many years. I have friends who take Pure Barre and bar classes, and they have complained about the level of the music and the noise. So while they think they're riling us all up and motivating us, many of us are very unhappy with the noise level, and they should really be concerned for themselves as well. So I wanted to make a point about the yoga. There's apparently a breathing technique that they use in yoga where you forcefully breathe out and breathe in. When that is done incorrectly, again, you have a buildup of pressure inside the head, inside the ears, and it has led to hearing loss and deafness. So please be careful if you are a person who takes yoga classes and you've noticed this kind of a thing going on. If you do that breathing incorrectly, you can cause permanent damage to your hearing. Now here's a quick recap and some additional tips on how to protect your hearing during exercise. Number 1, ask them to turn the music down. This is very simple. They have guidelines that they are supposed to follow. We are attending these facilities to better our health and our fitness, not to harm our bodies and lose our hearing. So please speak up. Wear earplugs. Anytime the noise level is above comfort, wear earplugs. And if wearing earplugs does not bring the sound level to a comfortable level for you, then you'll have to walk out. If the weight you're lifting is causing you to strain, reduce the level of weight. This will result in less intracranial pressure and lower your risk of developing a perilymphatic fistula. If you experience hearing problems during or after your workout, this is a warning sign that you need to change your routine to find the right level of intensity so that you no longer experience any problems with your hearing. You're overdoing it. Number 5, if you listen to music with earbuds or headphones, make sure the volume stays at the lowest possible, and wear noise-canceling earbuds so that you're not competing with the outside noise levels. Remember to avoid holding your breath because that causes pressure to build up in your ears. Avoid sports that involve blows to the head, such as boxing or wrestling, that can damage your hearing. Be mindful of other sports that can lead to sudden hearing loss, like shooting, hunting, and scuba diving. Avoid letting the weights bang down when you're weightlifting. The noise of those crashing weights can sometimes reach levels as high as 140 decibels, and this type of loud sound can cause sudden hearing loss. And if you can't take the level of sound or music that's going on in the fitness center or in an exercise class, protect your hearing and simply walk out. And finally, you can turn your cell phone into a decibel meter. There's an app in the App Store that you can download. It's free. It's called Decibel X, and it will measure the sound levels around you. That's a great way for you to protect your hearing. So I hope you found this video helpful and very informative. I hope that you will take precautions to protect your hearing. It's a gift, like I said. It is something to cherish, to be able to hear the birds and to hear the leaves rustling. Those are the things that will get damaged if you don't protect your hearing. And please share this video with your friends and your family so that they can protect their hearing as well. And remember, never feel embarrassed to speak up for your health, to tell someone to turn the music down because it's uncomfortable and you want to protect your hearing. And if anybody listening owns a fitness center or is an instructor, encourage the facility to put up signs. Encourage the classes to keep the noise level down so that hearing can be protected. Let's bring about an awareness. It's already being talked about, studies are being done, but things are not being enforced. There should be signs up, especially for young kids who just don't even know. And be mindful of movie theaters. This is something that I have noticed recently in my area. I don't know about yours, where they are cranking the levels of a movie in a movie theater to unbearable limits. Protect your children. Their hearing is even more delicate than yours. And if they can't turn it down, then leave. You can always do that. Okay? Thanks so much for your time. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe because I have a lot more to come. Something of interest to everyone. And please visit me at my blog spot where I do a lot of writing. And I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, so we can stay connected there as well. Okay, well, thanks so much for viewing. Bye-bye now.